Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. How is everyone doing on this Thursday? We are well into, don't you think it's, if you're past April 7th, like the 7th of the month, I feel like you're well into the month. You can't really call it the beginning of the month anymore. It's like a full week, you know, just saying. So a little tip for you guys, which I think is one of the reasons that I have such a hard time with this from point to point. Oh, my caps are going. We'll talk a little bit about this too, guys. My caps, my beautiful caps. Is that, hello. What happens is that if you don't do things in order, a lot of times, even if you know, you can really mess yourself up. And the artist in me doesn't do things in order that well. Oh, you're kidding me. I'm on found object. I thought I was in, what's going on here? Found object maker. No, this is right. Okay. Hello, everyone. Say hello. Say where you're from. It's Brenda Schwader. I'm coming to you live from Sahuarita Casita. We're doing another live tutorial today. Just like we do every Thursday, almost every Thursday in the whole wide world. And for those of you who don't know me, I do a lot of stuff with wire. And now I do content creation with wire for John Bead. And we're starting out with some fabulous aluminum wire, which we've been doing since January. And I didn't know so much about aluminum wire. I just thought it was, you know, kind of a craft thing. But I was wrong. Anyway, welcome. Let me see here. So we're going to be working with that today. And I came up with this little ditty right here. And this is just a little, I call it treasure trap, because you basically make two pieces that are with aluminum wire, and you can make this with whatever wire you want. You know, you guys, I'm featuring the aluminum that John Bead has, but you might not have all this beautiful stuff yet, and you might want to try this with your own. Now, this is 12 gauge, but aluminum is so soft. You could work this with 18 gauge. You could work this with 16 gauge, 14 gauge, any of those that you can move into this particular shape, right? So that is what we are doing today. Let me see here. Yep. And so we're going to bring this guy up here. We're going to go back to here. And no, is that what I want? No, I think I want this. Nope. I want this. That's what I want. Like I haven't done this before. But what I wanted to show you, and we will go to switch this down right here, is I kind of created this tablescape here. And here is our lovely project. I have to dig out from the middle. But what I ended up doing, partially because I didn't have the 18 gauge, you guys, in this the green. I had it just in the apple green. But what it does is it shows you how we actually get the fabric to stay up and around. It's basically just, you know, formed right over this. And then here we have, let's see if we can get that to focus in a little bit more. And this little bit of wire right here in apple green is how it's very simply held at the bottom. And then we work sort of this bail right in here. So with two very simple shapes, if you have the jig, you know, the cool thing about the jig is people might say, do I need the jig? Do I not? For certain shapes, you really, you know, you don't. But if you are into, like, this becomes, you know, your super duper seller, it's one of your sellers, and you're fabricating this all the time, That's where the jig is the best at, is by forming those repetitive forms, multiple forms all over the place. I mean, even for ear wires, you just want that simple shape, that consistent shape all the way around. So, but I thought it might be fun. Now, this particular one, I didn't trap anything inside of it, as I just kind of wanted to see. I was just kind of like looking at the beautiful form itself and how lovely that is. But I thought today it might be fun. Let's kind of move this over here to look at some particular little shapes. Now, what is going to work best? Let's see if there's some comments. I'm saying people's coming in and saying hello, hello. Hi, Terry. Better late than never. We love having you here no matter what. The shapes that work best for this are going to be things, obviously, that aren't going to fall through the holes of this. And I'll show you a little piece of this, unless I dumped it on the floor already. But if you just look at the blue, so I got the white, the blue, and the green from Carmi. And so I think today we're going to be working with the white. So look at what happens here. It doesn't have a whole lot of stretch one way, right? So, but the other way, woo. And so you have to have something that isn't going to fall through there. So as when I capture other things, what ends up happening is that a lot of times it helps if something is sort of roundish. It's the same size on one side as it is the other. All the dimensions are sort of the same, and it doesn't have any sticky outy pieces that are going to like kind of come through here. So you can see I can get my my fingertips through here. So that's a good kind of thing to remember. So I thought, can I do something like this? I was kind of going like, what do I have that's orangish or whatever? This is too big for this particular thing. This cute little orange rabbit, I thought it might be fun to have this orange rabbit kind of in there, and you're like, what's in there? But I think too many sticky outy shapes. We can get, a little leg that's sticking out. I mean, you might like that effect. It might look like he's trying to get out, but I think he could probably work his way out there because, he is about the size of my finger. So I think what we're going to do today is we're going to work with this. I hope this die isn't too small. It's, it's about the same width as it is, exactly the same width as it is high as it is wide. So we're going to try to work with that in there, and I think that might be cute with sort of this double orange theme that we've got going on. So I know. Hi, Coral. Nice to have you back. I know. She said loves the blue netting. This is so darn cool. And I have to tell you that if you go on the John Bead site, I don't have a link for this yet. I'm so sorry. When I do get it, I will add it to this broadcast in the notes, but I don't have the link yet. But if you go onto the John Bead site and just put in there Diamante Mesh Netting, you can see all the colors. I think there's probably like 8 colors in there, and it's just luscious, I think. So let's see. I want to show you. We'll come back up to, let's see, we'll give Coral a little bit of privacy there. Oh my gosh, Annie says she has dice charms. That's so cool. So today we're gonna pretend that the die is one of our mementos. Who knows? It's a lucky die, or it was Grandpa's favorite thing. He always kept in his pocket, whatever. Or maybe you just like the thing. So that we've got that. All right. So for those of you who haven't watched before on the tutorials, what happens is, and these might not be loaded quite yet, but we have, why do I have 2 versions of this? Just because. We have instructions. And those are free. Let's go back to the banners here. And they are free templates at the Facebook group, Bead Projects and PDFs from John Bead. So free. So you will be able to get this version here. Okay. Here we can even put this back this over here so we can see better. So this version here we've got for you guys, and this is what we'll be working on today. For those of you who, that's interesting, I have my email that I printed up before in this pile as well. But if you're, now that's a Jiggy-Factor, we also have this available, and this is loaded onto Etsy.com. There, www.brendaschwader.etsy.com, and those are just $3, and it just basically helps us cover Sarah's cost for her beautiful graphics that she does. But then back to the free things, we've got these whole, it tells you exactly what you need and what tools you need, a little bit about the project, the hashtags if you want to see if anyone has used that. And then the directions, because you might not have this video when you make this. So, okay, so we're going to start making the actual thing. So I'm going to find this piece right here. We're going to clear the decks. We're going to get rid of this guy right here. And let's see here. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you. Let's see here. Let's go to, no, it's not in there. Let's go to, I have to look up in here and see if I can't find open recent. Oh, I know where I am. No. I don't want that. Oops. Cancel and put that back down. Oh, it's almost like it's too much to. I love having it, but I'm like, so where is that now? Let's see here. I know I've had this open recently, so. Yeah, I have this thing in here called John Bead Maps Links, and where is that? Here we go. John Bead Links, and I'm just going to pull this one. I want you to be able to find the wire is my point. So I'm going to go and find this link right here. And this is for all the aluminum wire. And whoops. There we go. Thanks for your patience. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put this back down where I wanted it. I'm going to go back to the comments. Out of banners. Hi, Linda. Aha. Small and medium dice beads. I think we need medium to large for this. What do you guys think? All right, here we go. So let's see if we can get this to go on up there. There you go. It's loading in. So that's where all of the links for all the aluminum wires are. Just wanted to make sure you had that. All right, guys. And what I'll do is I'll put in here just so you can see all the different colors. John Bead. And this is where you're going to go. Just put in the search engine against just Diamante, D-I-A-M-E-N-T. I can even put that here. So you can cut and paste it. Mesh netting. I think rhinestone comes after. That would just help your search. There you go. All right, so let's clear the decks and let's get making here. So I think we're going to use the white. But I also want you to know after the show what I'm going to do, in case you guys just want to have a little bit of this. I'm just going to have some very limited amounts because I just get some samples. But I thought it might be fun if you guys wanted to try this. I'll give you like a foot square or something. I don't know. I just have, I just have what I have. But I thought it might be fun if you guys wanted to try this out. And I'd love to see your projects if you wouldn't mind sharing them. Is just to go onto my Etsy page. Here we go, Etsy, and to grab that. So I'll just have that, a little bit in each of these different colors to share with you. And as I said, there won't be a whole lot, but if you remember, go on and see what you see. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and clear the decks. As I said, we're going to be working with both of the orange, so we're going to get rid of all the other colors. And what I'm going to do is, I know that I need just like, look at that. Isn't that great how this easily, that just straightens out there. Just like 6, I know I need 2 pieces of this 18 gauge. So of course I'm going to do more than 6 because I don't want to not have enough, but I know 6 works. Okay, so I'm just going to grab that. And then for this one, what you'll see on here is that we always give you how much wire you need for each piece. So right here it says, and what I did was I made an inside and an outside setup. Okay, and I think my lighting is a little off, isn't it? Anyway, and I'll tell you about that. So the inside one, you don't go around this bottom loop. It's a little harder to see, but on this one, you actually see how it's a little bit fuller here. The wire path actually does go around this, and that's what provides the seat at the bottom of this of the pendant at all. I think this Band-Aid is distracting, so we're going to get away. Take it off. Okay, so 9 inches of each of these, and you're going to make 2 because you're making a 3-dimensional piece. So have any of you guys worked with this stuff before? I'm just curious because I know we come from all different walks of life and everything around here. So, or have you worked with anything similar? Are you a milliner? You've worked with this hat stuff? All right, so I'm going to cut 2 like 9-inch pieces, or what sort of looks like 9 inches, because I don't want to measure right now. That's a lot more than 9. Lazy girl. All right. Here we go. I think it's a lot more than 9. You're paying attention there. All right. So the hardest thing now, you're like, oh my God, this is 12 gauge. But with aluminum, it's really pretty darn cool to do this. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to start with the outside. Don't tell me. Did I move my, oh, I see my, you know what, we're just going to use my bench block. I steal things on myself. Do you guys do that? And I make problems for myself. So we're just going to use a little raised anvil today. But what we're going to need first is a lovely round nose pliers. And we're just going to work from the bottom up. And I think what we're going to do is we're definitely going to make the outside setup first, and we're just going to go and grab from the middle. I know that, about this area, I'm going to get about 1/8 of an inch thing inside of here, but I can even go down from there because I know that I'm going to have a little bit more area. I also want area for this this binding, this anchor wire to go. So yeah, we'll stick with the 1/8 inch. And so I'm basically just making a nice round shape at the bottom. And I know that I want it to seat inside of that pendant, so I'm just keep continuing on. And I'm just working this with my fingers, right? Way cool. I'm just thinking about you, Sue DeLay. You have been on so many broadcasts lately, and I've been thinking about you. I hope everyone at the Blue Speed Society is doing well. Say hello to them for me. Okay, so if you want to see, yeah, that's pretty darn good. And just kind of just continue. That's why we have these patterns, is that you just continue to form, using the pattern as a pattern. what do you know? So you guys are quiet today. So let's go ahead. Oh, yes, I already said that. Okay. I'm just like, whew. All right, so what I want to do is I want to make a nice acute angle right here. It's not so acute, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my chain nose pliers right here where I want to make that, and I'm going to use my powerhouse thumb, and I'm just going to bend that right there. And see how well I did. That is pretty darn good, Brenda. Wow, that was a pretty darn good guess. And then this time, I want this to be the same, right? So I'm going to go right here and mark this. Now, if they're not exactly the same, they're not close to each other, and they're going to have this netting around each other. So be forgiving with yourself, right? Let's see how well I do. Not too bad. Not too bad. It really does help to have the pattern, you guys. I can't even give myself credit, like, oh, I've been doing this for so long. Now, what I want to tell you here is that you can see on this one, we go from the bottom up and around. But on this one, we go from the top up and around. And Sarah and I were on the phone 3 different times yesterday trying to figure this out. So hopefully this is going to be the rub and see how well we did. But what happens is, because when this inside one, this is going to go through this bottom loop right here. So that raises this up. And so we want this whole length, this top to bottom length, to be just a little bit shorter so that everything lines up on the top. So let's see how we did. Sarah, if you're watching, this is the moment of truth. All right. So what I'm going to do here is that I am going to grab my round nose pliers again, and I'm going to put it right here where I know I want to start making that. But I know I don't want this little tiny bit, so I'm going to move it back over to here. And then I'm going to come around and around. Just notice I'm working right at this point of contact right here. If you draw the metal around, you're going to end up probably having, more propensity to have some air in here, and it's just not going to give you that perfect circle or loop. So I'm just really trying to really get in there and do this. Okay. Not too bad, not too shabby. Okay. So I've got that first one in there. Now, actually, what I can do is that I have that one in there, and I can cheat a little bit. It's not cheating, it's just working efficiently, right? So I'm going to, you can kind of see, I'm going to put my little guy right in there, and I'm going to start here so that I have that marked, right? But I also know, because it's conical, that I'm going to turn this around so I have everything sort of adding right up there. And if you guys are really worried, I tend to be, I do have a little bit of a mark on here. You can use your, your tool magic, but you can also use something like this to go ahead and form these as well. And then, you have your thing to work with, but you also aren't marring your wire. So I'm going to try to keep that one in mind a little bit more. I'm just not used to working with it. So I've got these lined up right now, and what I want to do is I want to rock that back. You guys know all about that from probably all your years of beading, or if you don't, this is what's called a lollipop on top. What I want to do, instead of having this be a Q or a P, is I want to get in here and I want to rock this back so that it's a lollipop on top, okay? And all that means is that you have your circle exactly centered on top of your wire. All right, and then I'm going to get back in here, and I'm going to just kind of cut those little bits off with my flush end here. on both sides. And I'm good to go. So I have that one full one done, right? Well, it's not quite done yet. So, hammer, where are you? You're kidding me. Did I lose that too? No, it's over here. You would think that I would have like a checklist. It's not far. Oh, this isn't it. Oh, I want my other hammer. My John Bead hammer. I love that thing. So it's moved all the way out of this around the studio. All right. Well, we're going to use now that's a hammer, and just really do it light. Wow. There's always something, right, you guys? That's not going to. Here we go. Is that it? All right. What I found was this other metal complex hammer by John Bead too. You can just get a regular old utility hammer from them with their metal complex line. So, you know what? Let's go ahead and use this one. I've got a scissors, right? And we'll just get in here. This stuff actually scares me. This sort of shrink wrap stuff. I already got cut ones today, right, guys? Let's see if I can pull this out of here. Yep. There we go. So just be careful. Like what I would usually do is I would have the other hammer that has the nylon tips, and then we would work with that. But we're just going to be careful. Basically, we're just getting this all on the same plane, and we're hardening it. I'm just going really lightly when you have wire over wire. And you can see it when I go to, if I have something that I know is going to not make this be a nice and straight piece, I take this off the side so everything stays nice and flat. All right, and try not to hit the camera on the top. So, what ends up happening here is that we've got these loops going forward here, or we can see them. But what I want to have happen is I want them to not be seen, I think. Yeah. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the orientation on these guys. And I'm going to, as I'm looking around for the correct, you know how we all have our favorite pliers, is I'm going to just hold this guy, and I'm going to change the orientation. I wish I had like two with like and so I'm just holding this, and I'm just changing the orientation like that. So this one ended up being my vise, right? And I'm going to hold that so that I have a point where I want that twist to be. And I'm just going to change that. Let's see if I can get it farther back in here. And flip this so that both of my openings are on the other side here. There we go. So that is ready now to accept that cord or whatever we're going to put through it. Maybe you want to put like a brooch pin through it or something else. Now, we're going to just go ahead. So this one should be really easy to make, right? So all we're going to be doing is taking this again. We don't have to make that round loop. We're just going to make a nice angle at the bottom here and follow this through. But this one should be shorter because it's going to fit in the inside. Okay. Super cute. Mark this here with my pliers, and then just take this and come up like that. And I always like to bend against a chain nose or a flat nose because you already have that nice edge there. So take advantage of using it, and then you don't have to go back in and crispin is what I usually say. Okay. So I'm going to come back in and I'm going to, let me see if I can do this the right way here. Thinking. I'm looking on this one and I want to go this way. So let's mark that. Pretty good. Oopies. Lost it. So here, that's why I didn't go exactly the same here. So let's see if we can get, and then that one's going to go this way. We'll see, guys. Sometimes all this stuff is a matter of trial and error. Okay. And again, there's still a little bit of blood there. How? It must have been some sort of paper cut. I just don't remember getting it. Okay, so now this one I want to put through here like this. I want to hold this one. And this is messing me up to have that here. I just don't think that way. So let's get in here because we want this one to go around this way. Okay, so I'm going to start it and then keep going. Okay. And if you need to, you can grab this and bring it apart like that, just like you would a jump ring, right? So that you can kind of get in there and work it. This is a little bit too long. There we go. Okay. And that one ended up being a little bit bigger than this one. So let's make it a little bit shorter because we need that one to really be shorter. Okay, we're going to come back to here. I'm going to open this up again, and I'm just going to shorten that. Checking for comments if you have any questions or whatever. Okay. You know what? Let's put that Band-Aid back on. We don't need any extra color. So weird. So what are you guys doing while you're watching? Are you multitasking? Here we go. I was going to put this back on so we don't have anyone fainting from the sight of blood out there. All right. So I'm looking at these and they are a little bit smaller, a tiny bit smaller, but that's okay too. I think we can kind of back off on them if we want. But again, here we're doing the same thing where we're going to, and you can do this in whatever order you want, is to make that lollipop on top, right? So all I do is I put it right in here where I know I want that bend to be down, to be executed, and there I go. And I'm going to do some cutting of that extra bit, and then we're going to do some hammering, and then we're going to see how to put this all together. You are relaxing. Hello, Loretta Lewis. What are you doing, Loretta? Loretta is my cousin. Hi, cuz. And Anne is rearranging her apartment, making dinner for a nice, making dinner, then a nice walk. Aw. I want to take a walk. Okay, so here we have this, and it's a little bit wonkier because I was kind of messing around with the pliers and the orientation thing at first, but never fear. I'm going to get this back up here. Now, if you have wonkier things, you can kind of see this is a little wonky. You can just take this back down to the edge. That's why I kind of like these anvils so much more. And then you're going to see how that just really straightened that out just really nicely. And I'm just putting that right here from corner to corner. And then I can go back in. remember I'm getting a little bit of texturing in here just because this is just a utility hammer, not a chasing hammer or anything like that. But you get the idea. And maybe you do want a little bit of texture on yours too. I mean, it's going to get covered up, but we can do that. All right. So, you know what I did? I forgot that what we need to do is before we make the loops, we need to go through here. So I'm going to see if we can't do a little cheat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just open this up. This is good to know anyway. Open this guy up and see if I can't get this to go through here. We might be able to do this. Let's open it up some more. I was like, I know exactly, I'm going to do this right when I go through there. But this is one of those things that if you ever make a wrap loop, 9 times out of 10, I do it the wrong way. Darn it. Can't get that in there. It just needs to be so wide open. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Work, work, work. I think it can do it. I might end up having to. Darn it, you guys. All right. Do it right, Brenda. So let's grab a little bit more. How funny. I don't know if Sally Hoffman's watching. She's laughing. You did what, Brenda? All right. So we're going to do this the right way. So with the second one, with the inside one, you guys, before you make those loops, as I was all whacked out about making the loops right, let's catch up here. You need to put it through this loop over here because it's 3D, right? So we might be learning as we go here too. I have an idea. Here we go. Da, da, da. Okay. See, it's pretty much caught up already. So, and before, this is before, and this is, I wrote the instructions right. So the instructions are right, but we don't want to put it like that because, you know, we need it to go inside. So we're going to go from the other way. Let's see if this is right now. Nope. We're going to go this way so that everything is correct. All right, so you see how that's fitting in there now? So you've got one oriented exactly the opposite of the other. And what can happen now is that now you can take this and you can still hammer it, but it's you know, it's inside this. Isn't that nice of me to do things wrong so that you guys know how to correct them? You know I did that on purpose, right? All right, so you notice that I didn't, when I was doing the hammering there, I didn't do it too far up the piece. I just wanted to hammer over here. And you can kind of see what I was talking about, where now I've got like a lot of room in there, and that's okay too. So here's what I'm thinking. This is actually not a bad idea because now I can make the loops exactly the way I want them to. I just have to make sure and mark. And it's not a bad idea to go ahead and anchor this where it's supposed to be. Isn't that a lovely Band-Aid? Now, so that I know exactly what I'm working with. Excuse my sniffing. So let's go ahead and do that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this through here so that it's up and it's catching both of these guys together. And then what I want to do is I'm going to come through hold my breath and work this around both sides. So I'm basically anchoring it down, okay? I'm just sort of locking it in place. I want that to go really nice and tight around there. And that's so easy to do with the aluminum. So it's basically just sort of like locking it in. And then on the other side, I'm going to pull that, nudge that close, or snug it up, as I like to say. And we're going to see how it's nice and snug right in there now. And then so I'm just taking that, and I can do this with my fingers because it's aluminum. But if you guys have other kinds of wire, so you see how that's really locked in place there now, as I've got that. So now I'm going to come up here, and I'm basically going to say, all right, so where do I need my my bales to be? And I'm going to put it up here one at a time. Make sure the Band-Aid is on. Goodness gracious. And keeping this, I think I'm going to go like right here. And I'm going to use this guy right here, and I'm going to bend that so that I know where I have that. And if you guys, this is sort of my way of making a plain loop as I go farther down than the right angle. And then I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to go all the way around. So you've got a little bit to manage here because you've got this guy, but I think actually this is going to help us a little bit more. Let's get rid of the excess here. It's in our way. There we go. Okay. And then swing this back, and then I have a nice loop started. I hope I'm not making this look harder than it is. But you can see what I've got now is I've got, whoops, I'm off camera. Sorry about that. So I've got this lining right up here. Okay, so that was pretty darn cool. Lining right up. So let's make that. And Annie, you are so sweet. Learn to do much with your mistakes, right? Becomes our own research and development. And so here we go. The last one should match up as well. I want to make that just kind of like see where that is. I'm going to take this one off of this one, and I'm going to come back. You can kind of see what I'm doing here if I move this out of the way. So I come back, and I'm making a lot more of a right angle here again. If you know, generally I know that I'm going to use about 3/8 of an inch when I make a plain loop, but with I don't want to mess up, and so I'm going to just go with like 1/2 an inch. I'm doing this differently, a couple different ways, because that's how I roll, and that's how I get myself in trouble as well. So let's see if we can't get this into a nice, it's 12 gauge, so I'm also adding some length because of that. Okay, so I'm going to roll this back up and roll, 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 and keep this like that. Okay, so let's see how I did. Look at how nicely that all kind of rolls together there. That is pretty darn nice. So you want to do some tweaking, you know, and I haven't done any of the hammering here yet. So I'm going to come back and do that just lightly. By the way, guys, the postponed Tucson gem shows are on now. So Deb Floros and I are going to go together a little bit tomorrow. And then, so maybe we'll be able to come live to you guys and show you kind of the ropes a little bit. Well, maybe peeking in a little bit. And so I'm just taking anything that looks out of alignment here. This one kind of looks a little swoopy, and I'm putting it back on and making sure all of this is lining up. So these are my inside ones, right here. And then these are lining up inside the outside ones. And if I want to keep them in line, I just happen to have this funny old craft lacing from Walmart, because I do not discriminate where I get my my supplies from. And I'm just going to try to like make sure that these are all in nice alignment here before I get these up. But I can also kind of mess around with them a little bit later too. So let's just get this in here so that we have this all done and ready and anchored. So we're going to go, we have this one next. There we go. See, and it's a nice size for just to find pretty much any kind of leather lacing or shoe lacing, or depending on how silly you are. Oops, I put the outer one first, so we're going to back up. It's nice of me to make all the mistakes for you. Here we go, and I'm just going to go through the fourth one. Okay. So here's what I want you to see, is that how these are all lining up really nice. Oh, this I gotta see. Leanne says, I have a certain band-aid uses, stays on, it's fairly flexible, and doesn't have any glue mess when removed. Is that for working? I think I need some of those. Do tell. Thank you. Hi, Linda. Okay, so I'm just going to just do a temporary knot in this so we can get on with the fun part, right? I mean, this is all fun, but so right now we have a really nice 3D form. I have to say I'm pretty proud of that myself, and I'm just going to kind of go back in here and hide these a little bit before we cut them, just very nicely, and then kind of get in there and then just cut this off. It's nice to be able to cut this where no one's going to see it, and maybe on the inside of things, right, guys? So let's get down in there without cutting anything else that shouldn't be cut. Okay. And now we're going to add on, sometimes you have to kind of back it off a little bit to get in there where you need to, especially with some cutters that aren't necessarily, there we go, have the little tiny tips to them. All right, so, okay, now we have this, and we're pretty much done with our anvil. Let's put that aside. Sorry, now that's a hammer. We were going to use you. Cleaning up the tools is not my forte. We've got every tool out here possible. Okay, and some of our scraps. So we have this lovely piece. And now what I want to do is trap that other piece, the die in, and I've got my other, 18 gauge ready. I don't think I said it so far that basically the aluminum comes in 2 gauges. It's the 12, which is what we use for our frame, and then also the 18, which is what we use for all of our binding. And I'm also using it for ear wires because it seems to work for that. So, okay, so then we have this netting right here, and this is a little bit of the crazy part, because what I found out is I was so cute, and I was like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist it all out, and I'm going to put a little circle. I'm going to make a circle out of it, and I cut. Fail, because then I found out that it doesn't stretch so much in the one direction as it does in the other direction. And that's all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it smack in the middle where I know I'm going to fit things in here. And I am going to put that. So this is a good sign that already is pretty much a good fit in there, right? And I'm going to start bringing this up. I've got this at the ready because this is not necessarily, and I want those rhinestones to be facing down, right? Not up. So I'm just going to make sure that I'm coming up and over here. And I want this to be coming up and up and up, and I have to make sure all of these areas are coming up equally. And of course, you know, we've got the opening, it has to go through somewhere. So you've got all this fun stuff going on here. You have to have 3 hands and a half. All right. So let's see if I can't get this sort of, you know, kind of wanting to manipulate this so you're not having a whole lot of gaps and you're getting all the edges in. And after this, we're going to actually look at how much of this we used. Leanne, I am so going to go try to find one of those Band-Aids and keep it right here. Okay, so I've got a whole lot of extra on the one side. And I probably would, just like when you're sewing, you kind of want to have all your gathers, you know, gathered sort of nicely and evenly. But for now, let's take my sewing scissors. These are my gingers that I'm using with the wrong hand because in college I got, see, it says friend of mine's. That's how old they are. And a little, so I'm just going to kind of try to grab and get this, if I can work it. Nope, they're left-handed scissors, so I got to respect that. Respect the scissors. And come back here. I can always trim off more, and so you have to kind of work your way where there's not any, right? Where there's not any, there we go. Okay, not any rhinestones, sorry. I'll finish my sentence here and as soon as I can. So I'm just getting all of my ends up here toward the top. And you know, you can play and putz with this enough so that you're happy. And then I'm just going to grab this and put it just below my whole area there, and then just kind of go around really nice and tight. You're still making sure everything's 3D, right? And you've got that little guy in there. And I'm going around and around. I'm making sure everything's nice and tight. What ends up happening is that it's nice that we've got these rhinestones sort of like blocking the way so the netting can't come out. Like it wouldn't work so well with the other netting that I showed you on the hat. But look at here, we've lost some. So we definitely want to try to see if we can't add those in. It did work their way out. It's like I want this guy to be higher up. So let's back this off a little bit. And actually, let's see what we're working with here. I'm curious. Let's grab this all off. And here we can kind of just smooth this out with our fingers again. Let's see what we've got. Okay, you can kind of see. So right here, as long as this length is going to work for us, that, and so I think what I'll do is I will, because we know this stretches, right? And so we've got a piece, you guys. So this is about what you'll be getting, just to try with. Is going to go right here in the middle, boom. And so if I can get this to kind of come up, so I make sure that rhinestone is up there and out. And And then this one coming up from this side. So basically it's just big enough. And then I'm going to, and then I lose it. Okay. So here we go, and here we go. And then coming up from each side is going to be fairly easy because that one stretches. All right. So it's not, it's not like super easy because it's a little putsy because it's netting. But we're going to get that one up in there. We're going to get that one up in there. And then I think we have all of pieces up. Yep. Just have to get them all caught up in there. Aha. Where did you come from? This did not want to be up in there. Oh, these are the ones from the middle. Okay. Well, we're going to go with it. And then we'll learn to adjust, right? Let's see if we can get them all in there. We might have to go a little bit lower. Yeah, we went a little bit lower just to be able to, get all these ends in, and we might be able to pull them up in through once we've got it done. So I'm just going to do like a 2-half twist, right? Just like your bread tie, only your bread isn't all that aggressive with us. And this is kind of where we're just going to kind of like putz and see if we can't, manipulate these up and over a little bit more, probably after the show. But I want to show you how to do this cute little bow tie thing. And now that my temporary tie is done, and actually I probably could have just tied this halfway just so that this could be the permanent tie. Why not? That's what we were going to use anyway. So we probably want about that amount to tie that. Thanks, Anne. It's Annie, because there's an Anne and there's an Annie. I love it. So I'm just doing an overhand or like a regular old knot. Okay. Let's get that done. And then we basically have that. I'm just doing that. And then I just wanted to show you kind of this cute little finishing thing that I did here. If I can find the actual piece that I did with this one, right, is to make this little bow right here. As long as we have these ends, we're going to try to do that. And so all I'm doing is taking my round nose pliers and making a little bit of a bow. And I'll make a bow on each side. This one's longer. Okay, so you can kind of see it's forming there. And then just take and twist it a little bit against itself. You can kind of see where you're going to, oh, for Pete's sake. Note to self, do not cut yourself right before you go on broadcast. And so here, I'm just going to grab this one and just kind of go around like this. Kind of cute. You can go twice if you want. And just remember, you have to just keep going the same direction. All right. A little bit different than tying your shoe. So you can kind of futz with that a little bit. And then what didn't work on this one so well was having these little ends come down just like you do on your shoe ties. But it worked today on broadcasts, which is so nice. So we're going to find that cutter and do a little snip and do another little snip. And that could be, we could kind of zhuzh this up a little bit, which is what I'll do afterward. But we have our little bow. I don't know if you can kind of see with everything else that's going on. Little bow. All right, and then now I think it's kind of fun to have some of these just kind of up and poofy and stuff like that. So you want to just take and take like a little scissor or a little fabric cutter and just lightly sort of just start doing a little trimming here without getting too crazy, and see, you know, what's actually going to stay up and get cut away. See, like this one's a little long, and I kind of try to figure out, like, do I want to keep those rhinestones up there? If I don't, I'm usually a little bit conservative with what I cut off, because I know I can, right? I know I can always cut off more later. But you can't add back without doing it all over again. All right. That one's a little long. And so we're giving a little haircut, right? Any beauticians out there? Give me a little advice. Okay. So, you know, but there might be more, and because it's so contrasty with the orange, obviously it screams Halloween, right? Because it's got the black and the orange and everything like that. But it also helps me to show you the contrast in making it. And so I probably want to just kind of like feed these up in there a little bit and maybe work it a little bit more with a little bit more wire. Let's take this one off here. I guess I don't like those ones because it really kind of shows where the ends are, and I'm not all that thrilled with that look. So we're going to try to cut that off. Come off. Tiny, holding on by a thread. Okay, so Leanne says, I can't see the bow on the current one, but I see the bow of the green one. Yeah, isn't that funny? So you can kind of see that there without the little tails. And this one has, see that now, Leanne? See, it has the little tails. It's a little chunky in here with all the twisting. And that's why I was going to try to just twist once instead of twice. So that's something that you can play with too. But it's not too bad, you know, for being like working way out here for you guys and how we're usually working. Anne is your real name. Anne says, and Annie is my nickname. Aw, love it. Cool. Yeah, so you guys are so sweet to just come on with me. I'm going to just clean up a little bit more and put these together in a little vignette to show you. So this one I actually worked with. If you guys have an account, or you can just go on. This is suede lacing, and I can say this because I know that John Bead cannot distribute leather to the United States or feathers. It's just one of those international types of things. So if you like this kind of lacing, which is this buttery lacing, I love. If you guys know about the Lipstick Ranch, I think it's thelipstickranch.com with Kara, my friend Kara. You can grab that. I just wanted to kind of show you what that was. And like I said, this is just some craft lacing. That's just like, I think it's just like a faux suede. But here we have both together, and it's working out pretty cute. I think, like I said, I think we've got all the ends. We just need to sort of like now go back in and maybe just take a little stitch or something to make it look good. But it's kind of fun to have all of that fun lacing in there, and there might even be an orange mesh too. So, oh, Kathy Gillenwater is here. Love, love, lovely. Well, you've never seen anything like it in classes online or off the rack. That's right. Because, yeah, you can't see the bottom. I see the bottom. Oh, we already covered that. So, hello, Kathy. Lovely to see you. Taking a break from going to pick up Tristan. We love our Tristan. Tristan's a fan too. Yes, you did catch the end, my love. But that's okay too. You can always watch the repost. And hello to everyone watching on the repost. We love you. Let's go ahead and take a look. Well, if we can get this out of here, of what we actually used. Let's kind of go back to here. Of this, it might be easier to see what we used than not. So, can you kind of see what's going on here? Let's see. Is about, yeah. So what I would do is when you get this, and what I'll do is I'll send you probably more like half. I think it's, what's the part? This is the part, the up and down, that doesn't stretch so much. So if we can give you like kind of a half of this, which I think I ended up getting like a half a yard, so you guys can play. So isn't this great? Look at that. Woo! So I said we can't use it to make a mask. Tongue in cheek. But anyway, we'll have a few pieces of this left for you guys if you want to just, and it's just, I'll just add it on for like $3 just to cover the shipping, so that you can have a little bit of a taste of it, and see if this might be something for you. And I'll have those listed on Etsy probably like 15 minutes after the show or so, depending on how good I am. All right, you guys. Love you. Thanks so much for coming in and spending this time with me. You know, I love you. Adios.